Mo, you want to talk about what's going on, or you just want to leave it be?
No, we can talk about it.
Okay, because I thought maybe if we put the symptoms out there, maybe somebody listening. Right now is the time when a lot of nurses are headed into for their shift and stuff like that. So, yeah, you came in here and we could tell on your face like you're in pain.
I am in some serious pain right now. I don't know exactly what I'm experiencing, but this all started yesterday. So after I went to the Hawks game for the BBA for KJ and his family, I came home and I felt like my foot. You know how you hit your foot or something and it has like a little nag to it. It's not pain, but it's just nagging. And I thought to myself, I'm at the age where I'm like, I must have did something. I don't know what I did. But then yesterday I felt it just getting worse, progressively getting worse. And then I realized if I would stay off it, by the time I got back on it, it was even worse than it was when I stopped. And so I'm limping around my house just thinking, this is something, I must have tweaked it or something, it'll go away. And I went to sleep last night hoping that like a good night's rest, staying off of it, I'll be fine. And I woke up and I went to get out the bed and I tried to put pressure on it and I like damn near fell. I had to catch myself because I was in that much pain. And so I called my dude, and because I know he's dealt with gout before. He's dealt with gout for years, and I've seen him go through situations where he like literally cannot walk, and he's bedridden for days because his gout flares are that bad. And I asked him what are the signs of gout, and he said the only difference with what I'm explaining and what he has experienced is it started with like his big toe, and it moved down towards the smaller toes. But for me, it's the opposite. It's like my ankle all the way to my first two toes. It's just very painful right now. I can't put any pressure on it at all.
And you don't remember tweaking it in any way, shape, or form?
No way, shape, or form. I didn't do anything. I didn't work out.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like, I haven't even worked out in a week. That's how I know something's really wrong. And I thought maybe because I did a lot of walking the day of the Hawks game, maybe that was it.
No.
Can't be that. Even all of the years we've done in Disney, I've never felt this before. So I looked up gout. And it said typically you get it from it could be anything. It could be excessive drinking. It can be just you literally being a man. I guess is very high in men. It could be age. It could be hereditary. So that's just a guess with me saying gout because it's the only thing I've seen other men kind of go through. But I have no idea what I'm going through right now.
So again, you say it's from your ankle down to your big toe and the toe next to it.
Yep.
And that's where a majority of the pain is.
It's like a throbbing pain. Like literally every time I either put pressure on my foot or if I move it too suddenly, it's a throbbing pain. And it's like an 8 out of 10 on the pain scale.
Oh my God.
It's very, very painful.
Wait, so it's your two middle toes?
No, it's ankle, heel, all the way down like the outside of part of my foot into my toes.
The arch of your foot?
Mm-hmm. Like putting my sneakers on was so hard.
How'd you walk across the street?
I limped. I had to leave like 20 minutes early, like literally, in order to get here.
Bless you for making it here. No one burns out.
Well, that's why I pulled it through. I was like, today is not the day.
Yeah, I know.
Man, like today is not the day. I'm trying to tough it out.
Do we need to elevate it?
I tried that last night. I put it on 2 pillows, hoping that would work. Yeah, that didn't work. I tried to stay off it. That didn't work. I put it in warm water. That didn't work. Like, nothing is working. And when I asked my dude, when you do have gout flare-ups, like, what do you do? And he's like, bro, it's just pain pills and a few days off of work to try to get myself together. And that's all he's ever been able to do. So I'm praying I'm not experiencing gout because I've known that to be a pattern. Like once it starts, it'll just flare up when you eat certain things or if you have too much to drink or whatever the case. But I have no answers. I don't know what this is right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we don't have any calls right now. Obviously, this is something that I think somebody needs to see and like put pressure on and see exactly where the pain is coming from and stemming from. So, but I mean, thank you so much for coming in. I hate that you're in so much pain.
I appreciate it.
Did you take any kind of like a over-the-counter pain medication this morning?
Took some Tylenol.
Okay, yeah.
Typical man. Like I probably need a doctor.
Took something.
But I did.
I was actually prepared for you to say, nah, I didn't take anything.
I took some Tylenol and tried to walk it off.
All right, I was pretty sure she busted this guy lying about who he was related to. We're going to get to that story here in just a second. But a question for you, Mo, and a question for you, Abby. If a doctor told you if you sleep with a stuffed animal, you're going to get the best sleep of your life, would you start sleeping with a stuffed animal?
When you say sleeping with.
Stop. It's 6:22 a.m. The sun ain't even out yet, Mo.
We gotta be clear.
literal sleeping. Like you have your stuffy or your lovey and you are cuddled up with it and holding on to it and soundly sleeping, catching some Z's, baby.
Getting the best sleep of my life.
Yep.
1,000% I would do it.
You would do it?
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, it's cheaper than, NyQuil PM, so probably a little healthier for you, too.
So, CNN interviewed a bunch of medical experts who think more adults should be sleeping with stuffed animals. So, Dr. Jade Wu, a sleep psychologist and founder of Thrive Sleep Clinic in Durham, North Carolina, she said, I wonder if people are seeking more comfort in the face of uncertainty. And for people living on their own, it could be nice to have something to cuddle with at night. She said there's nothing wrong with having a stuffed animal as an adult or using one to sleep better. In fact, there's a lot of positives to it. And then one expert said it's a lot better than relying on sleeping pills or a glass of wine before bed.
I see nothing wrong with it. If it works, it works.
A lot of people have claimed that pregnancy pillows help them sleep better, even if they're not pregnant. And I've definitely thought about it. But then I'm like, is that sad? Because it's supposed to sort of mimic the feeling of like cuddling with somebody.
It does. And that's what they're saying, too, because like I guess from a biological standpoint, like back in the day, everybody kind of slept together and it was a communal sleeping for like protection and warmth and stuff like that. So you kind of still have that in your brain. So you feel safer when you have someone or something with you. So
I would feel less sad with the pregnancy pillow than I would with like a big teddy bear.
That's what you would get if you were getting a stuffed animal?
I don't.
You're going to get like a Mickey Mouse?
I didn't think this one through.
I think you should.
I was going to ask, all right, now you're sleeping with the stuffed animal. What's your stuffed animal?
Tiger.
Tiger?
I need something manly.
Okay.
Well, I'm sleeping with a stuffed animal. Can't give up my masculinity.
I gotta keep a little piece of it.
I need something large enough that I can like wrap my leg around it because I feel like that would be kind of like pregnancy pillow-esque. So I'm going to go with a dolphin, something with like a long noodle shape.
Okay.
That would be like long and kind of,
Jimmy's been sleeping with a hammerhead.
Okay.
Oh, love that for Jimmy.
I know. Yeah. So horsey's the staple for Kurt, of course, because that's his lovey ever since he was teeny tiny. But
do you think Horsey's getting a little jealous of Hammerhead?
It's funny. I'm jealous on behalf of Horsey. So what had happened was last night he said he didn't want Horsey. He only wanted to sleep with Hammerhead. And I was like, you can't do that to Horsey.
You're cheating on Horsey.
But here's what happens, and I know this. So he wanted me to take Horsey downstairs after he was done sleeping, he wanted me to take Horsey downstairs after we were done with the bedtime routine, and I put him down. And so I was tucking him in, and I put a pull-up on the hammerhead as a joke, and now he thinks it's hilarious. So he wears a pull-up, hammerhead wears a pull-up, and then I tuck them both in, right? But I can't cover up hammerhead's head, and so everything's got to be just right. And then I'm about to walk out, and he's like, Mama, I think I do want Horsey. And I'm like, that's what I thought, kid. That's what I thought.
It's the negatives of your son sleeping with multiple people, Crystal.
It starts early.
I hate you for planting that seed in my head. All right, so tell me about this date and this guy who was trying to name drop, but you're like, there's no way he's related to this person.
Oh my God, this wasn't even a date. This was just some dude I ran into at a bar. So I was out on Saturday. I was at my normal stomping grounds. I was out at the Beltline. And it had gotten to that point of the night where, you start to feel a little loopy from the beverages you're consuming. And after, a couple of glasses of wine or two, I definitely get a little chatty. I do not like to stand in the corner and look around and be like, is anybody going to come up to us? You think anyone's going to come up and say hi to us? Like, I like to just be that person that will infiltrate the group and start making conversation. So I see this group of guys sitting by the fireplace in one of the back parts of this bar that we were at. And I grabbed my friends. I was like, let's go talk to these guys. Like, they look somewhat normal. They don't look like they're going to harm us in any way. They look like normal, chill-looking dudes. So we sit down and we start chatting with them. And the guy that was sitting next to me that just took an interest in talking to me and getting to know me, he started talking like how rich people talk when they don't realize they're talking how rich people talk. They start to say things like, oh, I'm from all over. Oh, we were really comfortable when we grew up. Oh, yeah, my dad, he had to fly out to LA every now and again when we were growing up. And finally, drunk me looks at him and goes, are you is your dad famous? Are you from a famous family? This sounds exactly like the kind of thing a rich and famous person would say. I'm like, tell me you went to a boarding school in Connecticut without telling me you went to a boarding school in Connecticut. And he was like, yeah, that's actually exactly where I grew up. But he said, it's funny that you say that my dad is famous because my dad, that was like one of the reasons that my dad and my mom had problems growing up, is that my dad was a part of this really big band growing up, and she made him quit the band because she was the breadwinner and he was gone all the time, and he didn't need to be a part of it anymore to bring in more money, and he was just putting a big strain on the family. And I go, oh my God, is your dad like a part of Kiss or something? Are you a Simmons? And he goes, no, my dad is blank blank from the band Sugar Ray. And I go, that's niche. Like that's oddly specific.
With Mark McGrath?
Yes. The Sugar Ray. And I'm looking at him and I kind of do that head tilt and I'm squinting my eyes and I'm like, I feel like you're lying to me.
Well, to be fair, I mean, those bands, like the only one I can name from Sugar Ray is Mark McGrath. So, I mean, maybe he was like the bass player or the drummer or something like that, because I couldn't begin to name another person in the band Sugar Ray.
Is that why he picked the band? Because he knew nobody would be able to figure it out?
Well, that's my question. I'm like, why do I feel like this is so oddly specific that you wouldn't just make this up? So it makes it feels more believable. Totally. So I'm like, pull up your dad. I want to see receipts because I don't like to be bamboozled while I'm 2 glasses of wine deep. So he pulls up his dad and he goes, this is him. It's X, Y, and Z from the band Sugar Ray. And I'm like, okay, he looks like a famous person, like a famous bass player or something, but let's see what the Wikipedia article says. So I pull up Wikipedia, and of course, it lists out anybody who has ever been associated with the band Sugar Ray. It's Rodney Shepherd, Mark McGrath, Dean Butterworth, and Christian Adard, and then there's a bunch of other past members. And the man's is not on the list. And so I'm like, why? I literally look at him, I was like, why would you lie about this? This is such a weird thing to lie about. And he was dying on the hill that his dad was a part of Sugar Ray.
I wonder if there's no way he's never done that research, and maybe you just exposed his dad's lie.
Oh, I ain't see that.
Did I bring up a family opinion part?
That man been looking up to his father over this for his whole life, and you stole it from him.
He's like, I've met famous people before, and I was like, pull up one. He pulls up this photo with Stevie Wonder. I'm like, my guy, that's not Stevie Wonder.
It wasn't Stevie?
It wasn't Stevie. Wow. It was a generic black man with glasses.
Oh, come on, man. Anybody Stevie?
I was like, you've been bamboozled your whole life, and I just exposed you in the back of this bar. You poor guy.
She was certain her neighbor stole her cat. We actually helped her confirm the truth, but what happened afterwards? So we call it Follow-Up Thursday. We have storylines on the Bert Show that we got to catch up on and see what had happened. So this happened, this was December of last year. Rachel rescued a feral cat named Charlotte last summer, turning her into an indoor-outdoor pet. She got Charlotte a collar with her contact info, documented their relationship on social media. It was very clear that Charlotte was now her cat. Now, Charlotte went missing, so Rachel posted in her neighborhood Facebook page, as one does, and a neighbor reported seeing Charlotte in quote-unquote Karen's window, and she described her as a problematic neighbor who lived a couple doors down. Karen denied having the cat when confronted directly by Rachel. So we helped Rachel entrap Karen with a fake promotional email offering her free pet food. I forgot about this. That was actually kind of genius on our part. Karen took the bait, confirmed she had a cat named Charlotte. With solid proof, we encouraged Rachel to go get her cat back. So Mo, did she get her cat back?
Hey, Bert Show. The moment your brilliant Karen trap confirmed my worst fears, I knew it was time for the confrontation of the century. Armed with nothing but screenshot evidence, I stormed to Karen's fortress of feline imprisonment. When she opened the door, I swear time stood still. There I was, evidence in hand, heart pounding in my chest as I revealed her deception. She tried to stammer out some ridiculous excuse about a different Charlotte, when suddenly my precious baby heard my voice and started meowing like crazy from inside. The walls of Karen's deception crumbled. She disappeared into her house for what felt like an eternity before reluctantly returning with my beloved Charlotte. She launched herself into my arms. I'm not ashamed to admit tears were streaming down my face as we were finally reunited.
I bet.
After returning home, I posted about the entire saga on our neighborhood Facebook group. Everyone started tagging her in cat memes and calling her the Karen Catnapper. Soon after, she removed herself from the group. Thank y'all so much for your help. Charlotte sends purrs of appreciation. Rachel. P.S. I've upgraded Charlotte's collar with a GPS tracker. If Karen or anyone else tries this nonsense again, I'll be at their door before the cat hair settles.
It's a win for cat moms everywhere.
Yes, it
I'm
is.
so
True
happy for
indeed.
Rachel.
Yeah, and Charlotte is back where she rightfully belongs. All right, so have you guys done the new Apple update, the iOS 18.4? I didn't even realize that's how far we are with the updates.
I'm always slow with the updates because I feel like my phone never works the same after, so I haven't.
No, same. Have you?
No, I'll have it in a couple of years.
So,
Catch me in 2026.
so apparently with this latest update, Apple has added 8 new emojis.
Okay.
So when you do the update, you're going to get a harp, a shovel, a fingerprint, a tree. There's a random British Isles flag, a radish.
Oh, thank God.
I was
We
waiting on
need
the
it.
radish.
The radish
About
has been
time.
a long time coming.
So random.
It makes no sense to me. Like I was looking the other day, like they have a penguin head, but they don't have like an actual like the penguin animal. And I'm like, how is it we have all this other crap? I just want the actual penguin animal. Like just give me the penguin.
That makes sense.
But there is one emoji in particular that they are betting is going to be the most used emoji for the rest of the year. It's the exhausted face.
Oh, in 2025?
Oh, yeah, we
So-
needed that.
It's the like a face emoji, and it features dark under eye bags and like furrowed brows and just like an exasperated an expression. So they have added the exhausted emoji face.
Apple understood the assignment.
They got that makes up for the radish, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
All is well in the world.
But it makes me wonder. So that one makes total sense. Would 10 out of 10 use, right? But it's like, who on the Apple staff said, we need a radish?
Someone had to pitch that to their boss, right? There's a board meeting with a bunch of big wigs in Silicon Valley being like, you know what should we add for 2025? We have exhausted, check. A shovel, check. A harp, check. Radishes.
You had to say it with confidence, too. Feeling like people would actually going to listen.
And you probably had to give reasons why they needed to invest money and time and resources in graphic design into a radish.
I don't think I've ever even texted the word radish in my life.
Yeah, probably not. All right, so intern Sadie, be careful who you date in Atlanta. So this was one of your relatives that was going on a date. You guys did some digging and found out some scandalous stuff.
Yeah, there's some tea on ATL Hinge apparently, but one of my relatives is recently divorced on Hinge, out meeting people, and she had matched with this guy. They had gone on one date. Apparently it went well. And she called us last weekend and was saying, we're headed out for another date. And she's kind of telling us about him. And the first red flag should have been when she said that he wanted to send her flowers to her house.
Okay.
And she was like, that's really sweet, but I'm not comfortable giving you my address, which like he could have just brought them. There are other options. And instead of taking that as it is, she gets a text from him and it's a screenshot of the house across the street from where she used to live.
He Google Maps her?
He somehow Google Maps her her old address, screenshots it, sends it to her, and is like, haha, funny.
No.
Yeah.
Scary murderer.
No, ha, psychotic.
So he was just trying to Google, so he was going to do his own. If she wasn't going to give up her home address, he was like, surely it's on the internet somewhere.
Right.
But found a previous address and then screenshots the neighbor's house as a joke.
Yeah. And the thing is, that's where her ex-husband lives. So if he sent the flowers there, that would have been very funny, actually. But so he sends that, and my mom and I are on the phone with her like, dude, this is not normal.
No.
But she thinks, oh, it's so sweet. He's going to send me flowers.
She actually found it romantic.
Somehow. Bless her heart.
No.
Oh, man,
bless
the bar
her
is
heart.
low.
Okay, is this
Yeah.
her first date post-divorce?
No.
Okay, all right. Just I wanted to double check because I know you
No,
can
yeah.
find yourself in a place after divorce, but it's been a minute she's gone on. So this isn't like her dipping her toe back into the dating pool.
No, this is not her first rodeo.
Okay.
Is this guy like a catch? Is he kind of a silver fox, very handsome? No, you're shaking your head. No, because I was about to say, I'm like, women will make excuses if a guy's like a 7 or above. Like, oh, thank God he's cute. He wants to send me. There's nothing wrong with him sending me flowers, but if he's a little, maybe not.
Yeah. So
There's a fine line between chivalrous and creepy, and it all has to do with attractiveness.
100%.
Yeah, it
Put that
was
on a shirt.
Yeah.
That's a bar.
Save that, by the way. 50 Shades of Grey would have been a horror film if he hadn't been a rich billionaire.
well, and apparently this guy is like, she claims he's loaded. Awesome.
Oh, that's
but,
why it's sweet.
Yeah, maybe that might contribute. But she starts telling my mom and I a little bit more about him and what he had told her about his kids and his like life and stuff. And I'm looking at my mom, scratching my head like, this sounds really familiar. And he was pretty local to where my mom was a teacher, so she knew a lot of people in the community, and he was pretty local to where we grew up. And I'm just like, God, this sounds really familiar. So I start texting my friend. And turns out this dude was my childhood friend's dad. And
what are the odds?
I know. Small world. He had cheated on her mother. They caught him. They put an air tag on his car and tracked him around. And he was supposed to be going to Starbucks to work every day, and he was going to some girl's house. And
so not only is he cheating on her, but he doesn't even have a job. He's lying about his job.
I don't know if he works, but he doesn't work at Starbucks.
Okay.
So whether that's a barista or on a table, but they caught him. He tried to make it a huge thing, blew it up, tried to pretty much rip the family apart. The kids don't talk to him anymore. And we call my aunt to tell her this information, but it's a little too late. And she's already on the date with him.
No.
She was on the date with him. So my mom's on the phone going, I need you to be calm, like step away, just pretend something's going on with the family. So she kind of backs up and is like, okay, what's going on with mom? Wink, wink. Like, tell me what's going on. And we give her all the info. We're like, don't get in the car with him, because they were going to go to a winery. Like, she was going to get in his car and they were going to carpool. And my mom's like, don't get in the car with him. Just like play it cool and dip. So my aunt goes to the freaking winery.
She got in the car with him and she still went even after hearing all that?
She drove herself. But she did continue. They went from location 1 to location 2, which you would think after hearing all that information, you would call it quits. No, not my relatives.
She ain't a quitter.
Full send. Do it for the plot.
In it to win it.
Yeah, but I mean, they ended up going, and, you know, knowing her, she would try and call him out. So we're like, please don't do it. Like, you don't know how he's going to react if you drop this bomb, like this giant bomb that we just gave you on him. So she starts questioning him about it, and this man comes clean, but he's bawling at the winery while he's coming clean.
I would have got the ick right then and there.
I'm leaving. That's when the ick would have kicked in. At that point.
Not the
God
screenshot.
forbid a man show emotion.
See? We just talked about this yesterday.
He was vulnerable for 2. It's not the fact that he cheated on his wife and he broke up the family and he's lying about everything.
No
but
problem.
he cried in front of me in public
At a winery?
Please tell us she's not seeing him anymore.
She claims she's not, but I will keep y'all posted, because that means absolutely nothing in our family.
Okay. Big time celebrity, big time comedian gave Bert's Big Adventure a little love on her podcast the other day.
Really?
Yes. So Heather McMahon, who, if you are not familiar with, she's friggin' hilarious. Here's just so you can get a taste of what she's like, and I adore her for her just being unapologetically her. She's vulnerable. She's hilarious. So she's freaking hilarious, and she was so kind to donate an experience with her for our auction for the Avalon Noon to Night fashion show. So we do this every September to raise money for Bert's Big Adventure. That's our nonprofit. We take kids with chronic and terminal illness down to Disney World, and one of our Bert's Big Adventure staff members, Amber, hit up Tommy and I and hit up Bert and said, y'all may recall that Heather McMahon generously donated her time, and Storco Fresco donated their chef's table, dinner, and wine pairings for the auction at Noon to Night last fall. One of my dear friends won the item, and we attended the dinner on Monday. Seriously, best money I've ever spent. Heather was a dream and gave a little shout out to Bert's Big Adventure on her podcast today. So here is Heather McMahon from her Absolutely Not podcast.
Had a great dinner with some gals last night at Storco Fresco. It was really awesome. We did a charity event through Bert's Big Adventure, which is an incredible organization here in Atlanta, where they send kids to Disney World. You know, kids that might have medical issues, kids that have diseases, and just kids who deserve to go to Disney World get to go to Disney World through Bert's Big Adventure. And I do a lot of these charity dinners because I love to be able to connect one-on-one with folks. And so we did a dinner at Storico Fresco last night with 6 of the coolest gals ever. We had a great time. The girls were fantastic. So I want to give a big shout out to Bert's Big Adventure.
How cool is that?
Look at that. That's awesome.
I love that so much.
Shout out to her.
I know. So Heather McMahon, we're returning the favor. Granted, our reach isn't as big as yours, but it's I.
Trying.
All right, Jackson, you got some hypotheticals for us this morning.
Yes, I do. I've come on here before and asked you some of these before. If you know anything about me, I love a good would you rather. I love a good hypothetical. I like getting the old brain going. These are like kind of my go-tos that I when I'm asking people when I am meeting you for the first time. It's a good way to kind of get into the psyche of how a person thinks.
Oh my God, if I am meeting you for the first time and you throw a hypothetical at me, I'm going to look you in the eye. I'm going to turn around and walk away because I want nothing to do with you. I'm going home.
That's it, for sure.
Right? Here's a little, hey, you want to break the ice?
The only hypothetical in that situation is if I'm staying in this conversation.
Facts. I think I'd rather leave.
I don't know if I want to do this one anymore.
It's not your first date with us. It's all good.
That's true. We know each other a little bit more.
All right, what dorky icebreakers you got for us?
All right, here's the first one. These are all usually like money centric, which kind of makes sense because that's how you incentivize anyone to do anything these days.
True.
You are offered $1 million and you have to take a 1-hour 4th grade math test. Okay. If you score a 95% or better, you get the $1 million. If you fail, you die.
Damn.
What the heck? What in the Squid Games is this?
Right? Death?
I'm not taking the test.
4th grade math.
You know, you have to know your strengths, but you better know your weaknesses better.
You was 4th grade. Now, I still remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Give me the test.
Yeah.
I'm taking it.
What is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally?
That's the order of operations in math. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction.
How about that?
And
Also known as PEMDAS.
Thank you, Abby, for that insight.
I don't think you should take the test, Abby. Sit this one out.
That's what we called it PEMDAS.
Never heard that.
PEMDAS.
No, I called them that too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So mine is a who.
We wanted nothing to do with Sally.
All right.
What, are you taking it or not?
Absolutely not. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
I'm taking it.
Y'all wouldn't take it?
I don't know. I've been excusing Sally for too long.
All right, you have a bowl of 1,000 grapes. One is poison. Each grape that you eat is $100,000. How many grapes are you eating?
Is it poison that's just gonna make me poop myself? Or
No,
is it
it's death.
I'm not.
Why is death the only alternative?
What is you all right?
No. I'm not.
Why can't it just be like you get a really difficult disease for a year or something? Why do I have to cease to exist?
No. That's the hard part is how many grapes are you going to eat?
Okay, I'm not eating any grapes.
A 1 out of 1,000.
I'm not doing it.
Really?
You said how much is one?
$100,000.
I do feel like we are playing Squid Games right now.
I think I'm taking a handful and just
1,000?
going.
Yeah, I'm eat about 3 grapes.
3.
I'm going to get one and I'm going to buy myself a house and then I'm going to leave all you suckers to die. I'm out of here.
I was going to say like 40.
Are you 40?
wildin', bro. Nah, that one gonna be in at 40.
That's
4%.
crazy.
I just don't trust myself that much. That my luck has never been that good.
I guess that's fair.
And I'm wondering too is like if you have if you end up having a kid, you're gonna play a little more cautiously than if you don't have a kid.
True. I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You have your life to lose.
You got your girl.
Oh, yeah.
You got your family.
Your mother is so mad if she's listening to this right now.
I'm taking down 50 of those grapes.
You're going to eat 999 of them.
Yeah,
All right, give us one more.
All right, last one. You make $50. No, you make $100 for every lie that you tell that nobody calls you out on. But this is the only way that you can ever make money from now on. Are you taking that?
What?
So it's basically like if you tell 10 lies a day that you get away with, you're basically making $1,000 a day. Pretty good money. And that is the only way that you can ever make money from that here on out.
Such a bad lie.
Living offline.
Living offline.
I did that in my last relationship.
If you think about it, history really is just a bunch of hot gossip. Now, of course, we all think it's boring because we probably had a teacher that ruined it for us in 9th grade high school class. But essentially, When you think about history, it is just passing on tales of things that people did, salacious news that would have been major headlines back in the day. So this week for Ye Old Gossip, we're talking about how Cleopatra's Pandora's box brought down the entire Roman Empire. So our girl Cleo, she wasn't just a queen. She was a political mastermind who used her tempter skills to single-handedly flirt the Roman Empire into absolute chaos. You might have had a relationship that was so messy it took down a friend group, but to get on Cleo's level, you'd need to homie hop into taking down an entire civilization. So let's transport ourselves to ancient Egypt. The Egyptians were a lot like the Targaryens from Game of Thrones in the sense that they were down with marrying within the family. So Cleopatra...
Got to keep that bloodline pure, baby.
Yeah, you do. So Cleopatra, she's 18, and she's married to her younger brother Ptolemy. Ooh. And together, they rule Egypt. At the time, Rome was kind of a big deal, and the big guy in charge is none other than some dude you might have heard of named Julius Caesar.
Love his salads.
So Cleopatra. Take it back. So Cleopatra, she starts hearing about Julius and is like, ooh, that's some big pyramid energy.
BPE.
And she goes to her brother Ptolemy and she's like, we should get cool with him. And Ptolemy is like, we are so much better than Caesar salad over there. Absolutely not. So obviously Cleo gets a little upset by this. Meanwhile, her 11-year-old sister Arsinoe is in Ptolemy's ear like, you're so right. Why would we want to mess with Rome? I mean, what's so good about Italy besides that unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks deal they got going on? Cleo's not right in the head. Let's get rid of her. So they...
Wait, her 11-year-old sister is trying to, like, plan an assassination?
And you thought your puberty hormones were bad. So they banish Cleopatra and Arsinoe becomes queen. And that sounds like a big bummer until Cleo finds out that her man's Julius is riding through town.
Hey.
So she decides to walk like an Egyptian right into his bedroom and get down to business. Did this woman roll in wearing the best Egyptian silks and whatnot to seduce him? Absolutely not, because Victoria's Secret back in those days was yarn. She was delivered to his room wrapped in a rug. Because what turns a man on more than home decor? Julius Caesar loved a lamp. I love lamp. All right, so let's just say Jules got a lot more than rug burn that night.
Oh, wow.
Hey, yo.
You could say he opened Pandora's box. And the contents of said box were so good, they formed an affair. And he makes her queen of Egypt again, and she gives birth to his son, Caesarion, which, yes, sounds like they named him after the surgical birthing procedure, but that's not the case. Caesarion literally translates to Little Caesar because he came out the womb like a true Italian. Legend has it, his first words were, pizza, pizza.
I can't with you right now.
Oh, my God.
So the Roman Senate, not happy about this.
We should totally just stab Caesar!
And they do. 23 times, in fact.
At 2, Brutus, at 2.
So Cleo is obviously bummed, but not too bummed because then she gets a new man, Mark Antony. Ooh, lover boy Mark Antony. If Cleopatra had an ancient Egypt fan club, Mark Antony would have been the president. But let's circle back real quick to Arsinoe, who has since been exiled to a temple in Ephesus. And Arsinoe is like, you know what? This isn't too bad. I'm just going to lay low here and not get murdered. But Cleopatra ain't forget about how her sister treated her. So Cleo and Mark Antony are basically like Cardi B and Offset. They are ride or die for each other, but they're also super toxic because Cleo is like, hey, Mark Antony, can you do me a favor and, you know, assassinate my sister? And Mark Antony, the lover boy that he is, goes, of course, my love. And then bam! Arsinoe is taken out right there on the steps of the temple that she had been banished to. So clearly the man is whipped, and Rome being run,
Killed her sister.
yeah, maybe even physically whipped, if you know what I mean. And Rome being run by a bunch of alpha male bros are like, dude, this is totally beta behavior. Your wench belongs in the kitchen, not the throne room. We're shutting this down. And what do men do instead of simply talking about how they feel? they go to war. So this guy named Octavian declares war on Mark Antony, and everything starts going to crap. And by everything going to crap, I mean the Roman Empire starts to fall. And this being ancient Egypt's most toxic relationship, Mark Antony and Cleopatra go full Romeo and Juliet. Mark Antony gets so dramatic that just for attention, he decides to fake his own death just to see how Cleopatra would react. And then she hears that he's dead, and she's like, oh no. And then she decides to take her own life. And then he's like, wait, no, just kidding. Don't kill yourself. You're so sexy. And he's like, I'm alive. But then it's too late because she already passed away. And then he allegedly ends his life with a snake bite. Now, I know Cleopatra kind of gets a bad rap for all of this. People think she's a little bit of a sloot. But let's be real, she didn't force them to abandon Rome to make dumb political moves. She just strongly suggested it while looking amazing. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's political strategy. So,
I see what you did.
in conclusion, Cleopatra wasn't just a queen. She was a walking empire-destroying femme fatale. Some women burn sage to cleanse negative energy. Cleopatra burned entire dynasties. She saw Rome and said, I can fix him, but instead, she broke them. Thank you, and watch out for the Cleopatras in your life. They might not topple Rome, but they will ruin your credit score. Good night.
That might be your best one yet.
That was
I'm
funny.
inclined to agree with you.
I'm enthralled. And, it's stuff we learned in high school. For some reason, it didn't stick. But that delivery, that's going to stick.
If this radio thing doesn't work out, maybe I'll just become a history teacher.
I think you should. Mo, I know you discussed this on your podcast recently. I have never heard this phrase, don't even know what it is. So I'm looking forward to you explaining. What is hope fatigue, and why are young adults experiencing it?
So, yeah, I thought this was interesting because I'd actually heard some people on a different podcast having a conversation about it, and what they saw as what they believed hope fatigue to be and what it actually is was interesting to me. So I had to do some digging to figure out exactly what hope fatigue is. And what it is it refers to being so worried and anxious about issues beyond your control that you begin to feel apathy and pessimism. And a New York psychotherapist named Leslie Alderman, so she coined the phrase hope fatigue, and it's basically saying that today, young adults have a lot on their plates. Personal challenges, academic pressures, work conflicts, relationship issues, and just the ongoing work of adulting in general and taking on the weight of a larger world today has caused 45% or more of young adults to feel hope fatigue, where you don't have anything to look forward to. You don't feel that sense of excitement about much of anything in the future. And when they went deeper into the conversation, a lot of it really is due to the constant influx of information that keeps you glued to these like phones and the devastating news that's happening all over the world constantly. And before you know it, you're really more focused on that than any of the positive things that are going on or the positive things that you may have to look forward to.
I was about to say, because I was thinking in my head, we are inundated with negative messages constantly, whether that be just the news cycle and the headlines or just commentary on social media. So I could see how that would take a toll on your psyche and create hope fatigue.
So they started having a conversation that was interesting to me that I thought we could have, because they started asking each other as adults, right? Like, what do you have in your life right now that you could consider something that would give you cause to be optimistic about the future? And when they went around the room, what was interesting to me is literally all the adults in the room who had kids went directly to their kids. I'm hopeful for my kids, right? I'm hopeful for the future of which is great, right? She said, that's awesome. But what if you removed your kids, right? Like, what if you solely had to focus on you and something that you have going on? What gives you hope in your life about the future? And I was just shocked at how many adults sat there like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They couldn't answer the question.
Well, it's funny because you said when you first asked the question, the first place my head went was my son Jimmy.
Right.
So now I have to remove that, and I'm like, what makes me hopeful for the future for myself,
for yourself,
or for like society?
Both. Just anything that you feel gives you that feeling of wanting to be motivated and inspired about your now or your future. What do you have hope in? But again, everybody goes to kids, right? And then the moment you say, nope, take the kids out.
Okay.
Everybody's stuck.
But that's why did I carry him for 9 months? I can't use him for stuff like that.
That's a good point.
All right. Well, Abby, let's start with you.
Okay, because I don't have kids to begin with, so I already had to go straight to myself. I'm the only one I got to rely on. This is tough for me because I think up until this point in my life, I've always associated hope with my religion. As someone who's a Christian my whole life, for me, anytime I needed to put any kind of optimism or hope or just belief that things will get better or things are going to think there's always a purpose for your pain, I always associated that with there is a plan, somebody is in control, everything works out the way it's supposed to work out. Everything up until my life has worked out up until now. So why should I believe any different? And I think as I start to lose hope in that, I sort of have lost hope in life, period. So I'll be honest with you. I think I'm right there with that group that was studied where I kind of don't know. Like what's sad and what's scary is like the only hope you have is in yourself. And that makes me feel very powerless.
For me, as far as what I'm hopeful for in the future, I've accepted the fact that I can't change the world, but I can change my little part of the world or try to make it a better place. And that starts with, and I know I'm going to bring the kid in, but let me bring the kid in and then I'll move outside.
Cheating.
I know I'm cheating, but let me bring my kid in. So I've been thinking a lot about the type of human I'm raising and the type of boy I'm raising and the type of man I'm raising or however he chooses to identify as he gets older. And I want to create a person that heals and does not harm. And so I've been very I see that as hope in raising a good human to leave the world a better place than he found it, right? So that's one focus. And then as far as my own personal hope, again, trying to I think it's fruitless to put so much pressure on yourself that on yourself that you're going to change the world. And for all of us, if we just focused on our community and our, even if it's just in your immediate surroundings, just trying to make it a better place than you found it. So for myself and just trying to be as altruistic as possible. And as far as hope, I see a lot of hope in the medical community and trying to find cures. And that's where I choose. That's where I choose to put my focus and my hope.
That makes sense. And it's interesting because, Abby, like you brought up the dynamic of not having kids, right? And so our first thought is, well, it has to be about us. And for me, I saw that as like, I didn't have that out of where all my friends who have kids, it was like, that's where their hope goes, which makes perfect sense, right? But when you don't have kids, then where does it go? Like you don't have that. And so what I read was one of the key factors to trying to find hope beyond is your kids is just focus on what you can control, which I believe you pretty much mentioned, Chris. Like things you can't control, that's what bogs us down because there's nothing you can do about it. So for me, it just became like, if you can find a way to evolve every day, right? Become a little better of a person, of a human being every day, then I feel like that benefits everybody around me who needs me to be a better human being, whether it's my lady, my family, myself, whomever. And outside of that, I really didn't have a deeper answer because I think I'm struggling too, like a lot of other adults in that area. But I think if you become better every day, you do the best you can every day, I hope in the end that will make for improvement.
I mean, that's all we can do.
That's all you can do.
Well, I mean, if you said that you hope for the future that things are going to get better, at least you got some hope somewhere.
I found a little
scraping the bottom of that whole barrel, but we're going to get some. So somebody asked, what did a wedding guest do that made you regret inviting them? And it actually comes from the account Red Canyon Events, and it just blew up. And the comments are impeccable. Do we have a little Canon and D? Oh, let's roll some Canon and D for our wedding comments, please. It's one of the things I learned how to play. All right, so the best comments from the comment section. And again, they asked, what's something a guest did that made you immediately regret inviting them? The number one liked comment getting engaged at my wedding.
No way. That happens?
Yeah, it happens. It's one thing if you check with the bride and the bride's in on it, but if you do a surprise proposal at somebody else's wedding, you're trash.
I wonder if most guys don't plan on proposing at the wedding, but they start to just hit that emotional rock bottom of like, oh my God, I wish this was me right now. And they just pull it out. And
Put a lid on it.
Put a lid on it.
Put a lid on it.
It's not your day.
Next comment. I unknowingly invited my husband's ex-girlfriend to the wedding. I was led to believe she was a family friend. At the reception, my husband and his ex-girlfriend were dancing together.
No.
Oh, my God.
My mother-in-law, who was standing next to me, looked at them, started crying, and said, it should have been him and her that got married today.
Oh.
We were divorced 11 months, and 3 weeks later, I couldn't hold out for the first anniversary.
Oh my
I'm
God.
shocked it took that long.
I know, right?
I wonder if then he ended up leaving her for the ex-girlfriend.
I don't know. She said I couldn't hold out for the first anniversary. So it sounded like she was the one that instigated the divorce, but I don't know if it's because he rekindled. Maybe you can find this comment. I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
Breakdown podcast.
I know. This is literally where my mind went.
All right. Another one of the most liked comments, brought their kids when kids weren't invited. Huge no-no. Then this one. The person she regrets inviting because of how they acted, her in-laws. You'll see a common theme here, right? My in-laws. They made a huge donation to the church to quote unquote surprise everyone by renewing their vows right before hubby and I took our vows.
Are you kidding?
What?
And they tipped the waiters to feed their side of the family first at the reception and brought an anniversary cake to be cut and served before our cake. They even had their first dance before ours. We haven't spoken to them since.
Attention really turns some adults into children, man. That is so childish to do to somebody.
It's just pure selfishness. You had your day. Let them have theirs.
Okay, somebody else wrote, not my wedding, but a friend's mother-in-law sang a song about being lonely because she lost her son.
Oh, no.
At the wedding?
She sang a song about how lonely she is because she has lost her son because he is marrying another woman.
Let's make it about me.
My mother-in-law asked the minister not to marry us the day of the wedding. She told every guest that walked in how much she hated me. Just to let you all know, we were married for 23 years.
Oh, my
Wow.
God.
My mother-in-law.
What? No, real question. Why is it never the father-in-law? Like, what
We
is...
be chilling.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to tell
We
you.
want none of it.
There's this weird dynamic between mothers and sons that just
Yep. I'm aware.
It's weird. It's weird. My mother-in-law telling everyone and anyone that I stole her soulmate and I married her soulmate.
Oh, my God.
Why? Like, why are you such a toxic individual?
Freud is typing.
When my ex-husband and I got married, again, the question was, what wedding guest did you immediately regret inviting because of the stunt they pulled at your wedding? When my ex-husband and I got married, a woman cut her kid a piece of our wedding cake. We had not cut it or taken any pics with it or anything. No one could believe it.
Oh,
Are you
I would
kidding?
be furious.
And those things are expensive.
Yes, very.
You're stealing a moment. Like, that's a big deal. I remember every wedding I've ever been to, like, they bring everyone around. They're like, watch them eat a sweet treat. Like, it's a big deal.
That and also the fact that they're so expensive, and they're so expensive that I wanted, you want tiers because, it looks nice when it's big. That's what she said. But one of my tiers was styrofoam because I wasn't going to pay for all that. Like pro tip. All right. And then the last one for you. Didn't invite them, but turns out the FBI was at my wedding undercover.
Are you kidding?
So I went deeper in the comments and sure enough, somebody is like, dude, like, why was the FBI at your wedding? And she goes, well, let's just say I had a quote unquote unique cousin who we always thought was a little different. Turns out he was part of a militia group. Think Waco, Texas kind of group. And the FBI was watching him for 2 years. He was finally arrested 5 months after my wedding, served 22 years in federal prison. We found out lots of things after he was arrested and things were disclosed.
Oh, my God.
You expected more from your friends and your lady, huh?
I did. And I don't normally look to the people around me for support. I'm pretty good at being a self-motivator. But I don't know if you've ever done something, maybe a hobby or something like that, and then it took so much time that by the time you got to the end of it, you expected like this grand celebration, and it just wasn't exactly what you had in mind. And I feel like that's what I experienced.
So
Okay.
they let you down a little bit with their reaction.
A little bit, and it might be a me thing, but I just thought it was funny that I reacted to it the way that I did. So I take up a new hobby, start learning the piano, right? I don't know where this came from exactly, but for as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to be able to play an instrument. And it always came down to guitar or piano for me. And I feel like there's been so many times when I've gone to places and they'll have a piano, and I've just always felt like, damn, I really wish I could break Beethoven out right now and just surprise everybody in the room. That's always been like a bucket list item of mine. So instead of just thinking like one day it would be great, I'm like, no, like today I'm going to start learning the piano. And so I do. Every day I take an hour. I try to find an hour of my time.
Seriously, an hour?
An hour of my time. Like, it started off with 20 minutes, then it got to 30. And then before I knew it, I was like obsessed. I was like, I really want to learn. So as I was getting a little better, gradually, I would want to do it more and more and more. So at first I think to myself, like, okay, once I get good enough to like, I got good enough to make the hooks of songs, right? But then my lady is like, nah, you got to go deeper than that. Like, you got to learn an entire song before I'm really impressed.
So you're not writing your own music. You're still in the process of learning the hooks of songs, right? Okay.
Because I still want to learn all of the keys and all of the sounds. That way, if I can start playing by ear, that's when I can start creating my own music, which is what I'm eventually getting to. But in the process, I stopped. See, and that's key. I'm glad you said that, because I stopped myself, right, from my own progress and what I wanted to do in order to try to find a way to impress my lady, right? I'm like, what can I do to impress her? Because she wasn't as impressed as I thought she would be when I was busting out the little YouTube hooks from the song. She was like, it's all right, but you need to learn the whole song. So I was like, I got it. I got the moment. I know how I'm going to get her. And I learned the entire Billie Eilish Birds of a Feather song, right? Because that's her song. And it's our song now, because she put me onto it, and I've loved it since the day I heard it. So that's like that's our song. Whenever it comes on and we somewhere, we know that's our moment.
It's a great song.
It really is. It's such a beautiful song, right? So I'm like, I didn't even think it was possible, to be honest, for me to learn an entire song this quickly. But I saw people on YouTube saying they've done it, and you'd be surprised. So I was like, all right. So there I am every day, every single day for like maybe a week or so. I'm learning each part of the song. And after I get it, you know, you got to kind of keep doing it so that it's fluent and so that you remember it and all of these different. I'm not even posting anymore that I'm learning. I'm making her think I'm not even doing it anymore, right? So I knew the moment was there. I'm in my studio. There she is. She's sitting there.
And you got a keyboard that you
and I
practice
got a keyboard in my studio. And I'm like, I'm going to just do it. I'm not even going to bring it up. I'm going to just bust it out.
So
Right?
that way she happens to be in the room,
Right.
and you're like, I'm just going to start playing it. And
This is my moment.
And this is going to woo her, and she's going to be so impressed that I have learned our song.
Right. So I start playing it. Boom, 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 boom. I'm killing it too. I'm proud of myself. And I kind of see her in the corner, like, you know, look up a little bit like, wait a minute. Is that really him doing that? So then eventually, once I start going into the verse, I can see her stand up, because she probably thinks I'm like fooling her. Like I'm playing it from somewhere else. So I got the key. But like she sees, it's me. So I'm seeing she's smiling. But then as soon as I wrap the song up, I turn around and I don't know what I expected. I really don't. I don't know how it was supposed to. But she goes, wow, that was really cool. I said, not any more than that. I think it's really cool. It's not gonna. I spend weeks on this. What do you mean it's really cool? And she was like, what do you want me to say? I loved it. And I was just like, this is not doing it for me. Like this.
You were a little underwhelmed.
I was. And then she's like, well, what did you expect me to do? And I was like, I don't know. Now that you bring it up, I don't know what I was expecting.
But not that.
But it wasn't this. Like, what do you mean that's cool? Like, right? Then
You just expect her to start taking all her clothes off right there and then?
Maybe.
That's what they do in the movies.
Yes. Jump on me. Oh my God. I can't believe you did this for us. Something. It's like, oh, that's cool. I got to go back to work. I was like, all right. So then now I'm upset right now. So I'm like, all right, I gotta. I'm going to learn Beethoven. I'm going to learn my first Beethoven piece. Mm-hmm. And I do, right? I learn it. Now, she was impressed by Beethoven. She was very impressed by that. That got the reaction I was looking for. But when I call one of my friends who also plays the piano, and I'm thinking he's going to love this, I play Beethoven for him, and he goes, oh, yeah, that's Beethoven for Elise. I know it. Yeah, that's cool. And then I'm like, all right. He's like, well, what else do you got? So I start playing Coldplay, This dude loses his mind. And I'm like, wait, how, you lost your mind in Coldplay? Beethoven was much harder. I don't think I'm getting the support or the reaction from my support circle that I need in my new hobby.
It's not why you do it, Mo. You don't do it for them.
Yeah.
You do it for you.
Next song I'm going to learn is Me, Myself, and I.
I have a feeling this is going to fire up some servers. So if you are a server, if you are part of a wait staff at a restaurant and you would like to weigh in, 1-855-BERT SHOW, 855-237-8746. We had a Bert Show listener email us. She wants us to settle a debate between her and her husband. She's asking, if your kid makes a mess at a restaurant, is it your responsibility to clean up, or is that why you are tipping? 1-855-BERT SHOW. Here's the email in question. I need an outside opinion on this because my husband and I are totally divided. Over the weekend, we went out to eat with friends and brought our 1-year-old along. Naturally, he dropped food on the floor. Some bits of bread, a few pieces of pasta, some shredded cheese. Nothing outrageous, but yeah, it was noticeable. We finished eating, paid the bill, and were about to leave when my husband stopped and asked, "You're really not going to clean that up?" I told him that's what the restaurant staff is for. But he said it felt wrong to just leave the mess like that. I get that it wasn't a tiny spill, but it also wasn't like he threw an entire plate of food on the ground. Plus, we left a really good tip to acknowledge the extra work. But my husband wasn't having it. Before I knew it, he was down on his hands and knees, picking up food off the floor like we owed the restaurant a deep clean. I told him he was being dramatic, but now he thinks I was being inconsiderate. So am I wrong? Should parents be responsible for picking up after their little ones in restaurants, or is that just part of what staff expects? Ooh. All right, Mo, as somebody who is a fellow server, you did your, you paid your dues at Joe's Crab Shack.
Did my time. Yeah.
That seriously, I feel like that should be mandatory. Everybody should be a server for at least a month.
Couldn't agree more. Absolutely. You learn a lot in doing so. And maybe that's why I'm on this side of the debate that I am, because I really can't see the logic in both sides. But I'm all for doing your part and just trying to help your server a little bit. I see nothing wrong with that. I get the whole mindset of, yeah, that's what we're tipping for, but that doesn't mean you have to make their job harder if you don't have to. Like, you don't have to scrub the table. Yeah. You don't have to go, like if I'm going to the dentist, I don't purposely make my mouth worse so that the dentist has more work to do. I'll still brush my teeth before I go. It doesn't mean that the dentist still doesn't have to do their job. So for me, I see nothing wrong with trying to keep it as tidy as you possibly can. Even if I'm giving the assertive stuff, I'll stack it to make it easier for them. Just little things that go a long way.
This is something I never got as a kid, because I remember when we would stay in hotels, like when we would go on family vacations, my parents would always insist that we would clean up the room somehow. We would, put the sheets in a certain place, or we would do our best. If we found a trash chute, we would take out the trash. And I never understood why you would do that when you're paying people technically to do that for you. But I think it's just you got to have the mindset that we got to help each other out. Like, we all have a job to do in some capacity. And if we can help each other in some way to make each other's jobs easier, it's just important to do that, because just because it's their job doesn't mean you have to make it harder.
Hey, Charmaine, welcome to the Bert Show. Staff responsibility or parent responsibility?
Parents. So sorry.
That's okay. You were so amped up that you just said the last word I said.
I was about to say, I'm like, you said that with your chest too.
Parents' responsibility, huh?
Definitely. I completely agree with what Mo said.
Okay. Are you a parent or are you a server?
Current parent, former server, 13 years, past life, but parents' responsibility.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Charmaine. So as a former server for many years and now as a current parent, if Jimmy drops like chunks of food on the floor, I'm picking that up. I'm grabbing a napkin and I'm picking it up before we leave. Mm-hmm. All right, Danielle, is it the staff's responsibility or is it the parent's responsibility?
Definitely parent responsibility. I'm a parent now, server for years before, and I recognize that every time now, and I make sure to clean up after when they were little and there was extra food on the floor. I would always clean it up. I don't want to leave that for the server.
Thank you so much. You guys, it's a sweep right now. Mm-hmm. Nikki, parents' responsibility to clean up after their kid or the server?
It is the parent's responsibility, because you didn't walk in there with stuff on the floor, you pick it up. Mm-hmm. Simple as that.
You leave it the way you found it, right?
Exactly.
We're just gonna keep going because I think servers need to they need to feel this in their soul.
Gotta have a vent line.
All right, Sarah, is it the server's responsibility to clean up, or should the parents?
I think it depends, only because I'm a server and a parent, but if it's a small mess and I get tipped well, I'll clean it up. But if it's bodily fluids, I prefer the parents to clean it up.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah, you ain't tipping for that. I don't care what it is.
I have had to clean up throw up before because on the table. So
Yeah.
there's that.
I've also heard conflicting reports that like this is like a major a news report that we're doing right now.
Come on, WSB.
Yeah, right. Because I pre-bus, right? And by pre-busing, that means you sack the plates and the silverware and stuff like that to make it easier for the servers to clean the table. But I've heard that some servers don't like that because we don't do it right.
Oh,
I've heard that
I never
too.
thought of that.
Because it's kind of like loading the dishwasher. Like everyone has a certain way they like to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Abby, you've gotten a massive influx of breakup submissions for your podcast, and apparently you have quite the lineup coming for us.
Oh, this makes my job way more fun. Speaking of making your job a little bit easier, but the way I run my podcast, the Breakup Breakdown on Bert's Pioneer Podcasting Network, is I always take submissions. And recently I've gotten a lot of ones from social media. Like, for example, Kristen actually sent me one of a girl I'm talking to this week who said that she broke up her marriage because the family didn't like her. So I'm interviewing her today.
Which is so crazy because I don't send submissions often. Whenever I see something on social media that I get so invested in, and I'm like, girl, you got to find out, you got to get the tea behind this. And the fact that I sent you that, and immediately, and in the studio, Abby's like, oh my God, I'm talking to her today.
I know, I'm talking to her at 4:45 today, so I'm really pumped to talk to her and get all the details. But a lot of the submissions I get through the form that I have in my episode description for each of my podcasts is a lot of people want me to be nosy about people in their lives. So this might just be specifically like a Gen Z younger millennial thing, but because we've grown up with social media, we've seen people's lives evolved, and you're keeping in touch weirdly enough with people that you wouldn't otherwise have kept in touch with, like people that you followed in high school on Instagram. So you met them when you were in 9th grade. You haven't spoken to them in 10 years, but you're still friends on Facebook or you're still friends on Instagram. And, you're kind of keeping tabs on their relationship and if they got engaged or whatever. And you also equally take note if somebody starts sort of soft launching a breakup where they'll maybe drop cryptic hints that their engagement broke up or something happened in their relationship, or they'll start angry posting on Facebook. And so I've gotten a couple of really fun ones from my submission form for my podcast, and I thought I would share a couple of them with you because it's really fun to be nosy and kind of be on the edge of your seat, and hopefully I'm going to be able to quote unquote solve these breakup mysteries.
Hello, I'm a white woman. It's in my DNA
to be nosy.
I am genetically built to be nosy.
Save that.
So this one says, my first official boyfriend was a guy I started dating the week after we graduated from high school. I'd had a crush on him since 8th grade, and his family never seemed to have a problem with me. But after him and I became official, his mom was convinced I was a gold digger and threatened to disown him if he didn't end our relationship. Wow. It was a rough year. His mom made my life hell, and I eventually ended the relationship after a year and moved on. Well, a decade passed, and in August of 2023, I got a private message on Facebook from a woman who says, "Hi, you don't know me, but I'm married to insert X's name here. I just wanted to give you an apology from his mom that I know she never gave you. We had a brief conversation, but I stopped replying because I didn't want to get too involved. But then about a year later, she messaged me again saying, I'm starting a insert X's last name family survivor club. Do you want to join? The catch was her last name had reverted to her maiden name, and all the pics from their wedding had been scrubbed from social media. Around this time, he also refollowed me on Instagram. So I want to know what the heck was going on that still had me involved in this relationship literally a decade after I left it.
Whoa, that's insane.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's deep.
But I was like, girl, why don't you just ask her? Like, you're already messaging her on Facebook. So I'm like, you've got the inside scoop. Why are you going to make me do the work?
But well, because sometimes you want to be left out of the narrative, even though you're a major part of it.
That's a little bit. Okay, so the next one says, we all assumed that these two girls in our sorority were hooking up. And after girl number one graduated and moved away, she still flew back to visit this girl. We'll call her girl number two. And after a while, girl number one had hard launched a new girlfriend on Instagram, and her and girl number two had unfollowed each other. So now girl number one is engaged to somebody else, and girl number two has been posting petty things on TikTok like insert quote, me when my ex cheated on me on my birthday. And we all know it's about girl number one because they were together on her birthday. Basically, our whole sorority wants to know what happened between them, but they haven't talked about the details with anyone. So hopefully one of them will tell you.
Get the
That's a
tea.
good one.
Get the
Go
tea.
get it. Yeah.
Okay, here's the last one. It says, I have heard in our small town that we'll call her Brittany. I've heard that in our small town, Brittany caught her husband of 2 months at the time cheating on her on their honeymoon. He has apparently been cheating on her for 2 to 3 years. The mistress posted pictures of the husband and her kids out, and I think that's how Brittany found out he was cheating. The worst part is they were on a cruise ship. They apparently got back and were going to work on things when the mistress's number ended up in his phone again. So Brittany turned around and had relations with the neighbor. Of course, this is all he said, she said, so I don't know how much is true. I would like to be anonymous, though, if possible. Don't reveal my name.
Sound like you got some work to do.
I know, I have tons of work to do, but hopefully if you can get to the bottom of it, it makes for a good story.
So I already knew the answer to the question before I asked you, Mo. If you knew what office siren culture was.
Oh, you just wanted to prove what I ain't know?
Yes. Well, here's the thing. I didn't know what it was either until I saw this article. And apparently it was all the rage last year among Gen Z women, but it's on the way out. Office siren culture is on the way out. So before we explain what's taking its place, Abby, can you please explain to Mo what office siren culture is for Gen Z?
It's girls showing up to the office looking like a sloot, essentially.
That's what it is?
That's what I read online.
That was not my
What did you
guess.
read online?
Well, it's office attire, but it's edgy and it's fashion forward.
I wouldn't even call it fashion forward. It's what influencers who have never worked an office job think office attire is. They went to the fashionable website revolve.com and decided to look at the blazers and the pencil skirts that they have available on that website, which is not for office attires.
Got it.
And decided that that's what people would wear to the office, so they would show it off. And then girls who actually go to a corporate office are looking to those girls for inspiration. And I think it is caught on so much that people are like, oh, it's so sophisticated and dare I say sexy that they're labeling it as the office siren look.
All right. But now that is on the way out. Apparently, Gen Zers are now moving towards a more conservative work uniform. And on TikTok...
You mean they're just dressing like they should have all along?
Maybe. On TikTok, some young adults admit to adopting a quote-unquote Steve Jobs style uniform at work. So he was very well known. He wore jeans and like a black mock turtleneck thing, right? So now women are wearing like boat neck tops, tailored trousers, sweater sets. They're choosing conservative and comfortable over the siren look.
Breaking news, Gen Z has decided to wear typical office attire to said office. They've decided to button up their shirts and go in looking appropriate.
You mean the exposed lace bra is out?
It's out.
And a turtleneck is in?
They've decided to let their managers live in peace and not flirt with an HR complaint.
Oh, thank the Lord.
All right, Producer Jackson, you are dabbling in pursuing a side hustle, but you really don't know how to get into it, so you're looking for some advice.
That is exactly it. I always think, who needs a therapist or a life coach when I have y'all to talk to every single day? And so that's why I'm here.
Okay, we're going to start charging.
Let's not go that far.
That's going to be my new side hustle. Just Venmo requesting you every time I give you advice.
The side hustle is for me to make more money, guys, not for me to lose money.
My bad.
And so I've been doing a little bit of soul searching as far as, sort of my career goes and what I'm doing with, this opportunity that I have working, as a producer here.
I thought you were about to say what I'm doing with my life.
Well, that is kind of part of it.
Yeah.
And I've had anything but a traditional career path when it comes to working here. I've told this a million times, but I started out as a finance guy doing banking for a few years. Then I went and did the tech side of things, where I was working in tech for a few years, and then here I am working as a producer in a radio show. And when I've been thinking about what it is that I want to do, or maybe it's not saying that I want a career change per se, but maybe something to start on the side that could potentially turn into something. And the one thing that has really been kind of piquing my attention is doing voiceover work and potentially voice acting. I think I'm a terrible in-person actor, but I feel like with the voice, you kind of get a little bit more freedom and creativity to do stuff with that, right? And so, I feel like there's so many resources that I have, at my disposal here. I know Kaylee's done a lot of voiceover work. Mo, I know your guy, Keon, does a ton of that stuff too. Mm-hmm. And, I would be really kicking myself to not really take advantage of some of the connections that I have around here. And I just kind of don't know where to start. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Kaylee does have a stunning voice. I will often be watching television and it'll be on a streaming service and I'll hear a commercial and I'm like, wait a second. That's Kaylee. So how did you get into it?
Kind of the same path Jackson's talking about. When I got my foot in the door at the station, I was like, all right, I got all this at my disposal. And I knew that while radio is very kind of organic a lot of times and more improv, I knew that there was kind of this area where it kind of segued into voiceover if you wanted to go that route. And so I just started taking, acting lessons, voice coach lessons.
You did?
Oh, I still do. I have a voice coach in LA. I still
Tell me.
What's an exercise?
Yeah, I want to know inside, what is a voice lesson like with your voice coach out in LA?
It's me reading scripts and her telling me how bad I am.
Doing better.
Basically, it's just interpreting what the author or writer was wanting you to deliver it. And it's, it's...
Because you emote with your voice.
Yeah, and it's inflection. What words do you hit? What words don't you hit? And it's just, there is a lot. And it's, and I guess it depends on what level do you want to try to, are you trying to get Home Depot national spots that are going to pay you Josh Lucas money at hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for that one job?
Yes.
Or do you...
You got me in it.
Everybody say hi to Bert.
Is he listening?
He is.
Hi, Bert.
What's up, Bert?
Bert and Cassie.
Why did I look around the room?
Yeah,
He's always here.
Bert and Cassie are in Chicago at a podcasting conference, and I've been getting emails about the show, so he's definitely listening. I'm not going to say he's air checking. He just enjoys the show. He very much enjoyed your piano playing story, and it was actually about playing the piano, not the
other piano.
Not the other type. Not the other type that we were talking about. All right, so Katie, you suspect that your aunt is lying and you're ready to get to the bottom of it.
Yes. I think my aunt has a sneaky link and she's not trying to tell me the truth.
Okay.
Well, that's why it's sneaky.
Well, it can't be sneaky. And the excuse she's using is what I don't like about the sneakiness. So my aunt lives in a completely different state and I don't see her that often. And we'll check in on the phone. I'm trying to think about how often we really talk, but we'll do check-ins.
And this is the aunt whose house you live in, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. And so lately, the last couple of months, she's been coming down to visit more often than usual. So at first I was like, oh, this is great. She wants to come see her only niece and her only sister. Of course, she just wants to spend quality family time. Cool. And when she comes down, it'll typically be just for a weekend. She'll fly into town and then she's out by Sunday, right? And so the last time that she flew into town, she said that she already had plans. She was like, I'm just going to go hang out with some of my friends and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, cool. And she asked to borrow my car. She's like, Katie, can I take your car to meet my friends? Of course you can. Sure. Go have fun. So she goes out and after hour 3, I'm like, where is she? She could be having fun with friends. Okay. Time goes by. It is now midnight. And my aunt had left at 5 p.m. So it's now midnight. And I'm like, okay, where is she? And I'm not more so concerned about her. I'm more concerned about my car. So I have a little app and I check it and to see where its location is.
So you can track your car.
Yeah, I can track my car. And it shows that she's at Papado's. I'm like, who's been at Papado's for 5 hours? What? This is crazy. So I'm like, all right, fine. She's probably fine. I go to sleep. About 2 a.m., I hear her come in. And she comes into my room. She peeps. She's like, hey, Katie, you up? And I hear her, but I'm still acting like I'm asleep. And then I just don't say anything. I just, right? And she walks out. But I'm like, why is she getting in at 2 a.m.? This is crazy. Who spends that much time at Papado's? The next morning, she's like, oh, yeah, we shut down Papado's. I'm like, Papado's closes at 10 or 11. Mm-hmm. Something's not adding up here. But whatever. So then this weekend, she's coming back into town. She hits me up a couple of days ago. And she's like, hey, Katie, I need to know a good Mexican restaurant. And I'm like, I don't know any good Mexican restaurants where you live. She's like, no, silly, I'm coming into town. I'm like, okay, fine. So I sent her a place and she's like, yeah, me and my friends were going out to this restaurant. I'm like, something don't smell right about this. Right? Quote unquote friends. And then she's like, but don't worry, this time I got a rental car. And mind you, she's only coming for one day. She's doing a turn and burn.
Ooh.
So she's just coming into town, not to hang out with family.
I was going to say, and she's not hanging out with you or your mom.
No.
That's weird.
To see these quote unquote friends again and then just leave the next day, fly out the next day. So I'm like, this is not, something's fishy here.
So you think she's completely BSing you guys, and that, like you said, there's a sneaky link, like there's a dude that she's hooking up with?
Absolutely. Like, what other explanation would there be that you're flying into town, hanging out so late, not even hanging out with us? No.
She got the rental car, so you can't track her anymore.
No, she can.
Too.
There's an easy solution to this.
What?
You gave her the restaurant rec, so you know where she's going. So, and she's taking a rental, so you have your car.
No.
Yes.
You pull up to the restaurant.
Pop up on your aunt?
Well, she's not going to know. She's not going to know.
That doesn't make it any less
Nobody's
psycho.
going to know, Mo. How are they going to know?
It's only psycho if people find out.
So you go to the restaurant, but you don't go in. Like, you find a way to, like, kind of suss out the situation and see who she's there with. And if she's there with friends, she's there with friends. But if she's there with her sneaky link, now you know. And I would be kind of peeved, like, if she hasn't been visiting a lot and all of a sudden she's coming into town, but she's not spending time with you and your mom.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up.
That's the part where I'm like, quality time.
She's grown.
No, but I mean, if you're coming
She's
into
seen him for years. She got a new little thing she excited about. What's wrong with that?
Listen, I'm all about Auntie getting her groove back, like, but at the same time, A, you got to be honest about it, and B, you got to make more effort to come in and see the people that also live there at the same time. Facts.
That's fair.
A balance. Yeah, I'm just asking for a simple balance.
Like,
Okay?
I don't mind you coming into town for some tail. Like, everybody's got to get some. I get it.
And that might be all she got time for right now.
Will you do it? Will you go?
Okay. I'm gonna do
Seriously?
it.
You got to go full undercover.
Yeah,
You need a disguise and everything. In fact, I want to
disguise?
come with you.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's pull up. It's Friday.
We're getting to the bottom of this.
But if we're going to a Mexican restaurant, I want some chips and queso.
That's a go order.
Were they still friends, or did the friendship blow up after we did the texting tutor? So we call a follow-up Thursday to follow up on some Bert Show storylines. And we had a Bert Show listener reach out to us trying to text a friend being like, hey, love this journey for you that you want to lose weight, but I'm not feeling you pressuring me to join you. And I remember the texting tutor did not go well. So we were wondering if it was going to fragment the relationship or if they were going to be able to come back from it. So Mo, give us all the details.
So this was back in January, and Julianne's best friend made a New Year's resolution to get healthy, lose some weight, and a friend kept pressuring her to join her weight loss journey, but Julianne was happy with her body. She didn't want any part of it. So we helped Julianne set boundaries with our texting tutor, but a friend responded with just a thumbs up. So the situation escalated when Julianne's friend sent her a heavily filtered photo, making her look 20 to 30 pounds lighter, with the message saying, quote, see, this is what you could look like in a few months, end quote. Julianne was hurt by her message and started questioning their friendship. We advised Julianne to maintain her boundaries by not addressing the photo or weight loss requests. And what has happened since?
Here's the update. It says, hi, Bert Show. I bet you weren't expecting this, but as of today, it's me who needs to apologize to my former best friend. I'll catch you up to speed because I do need your advice. We didn't really talk for a few days after she sent the photo of me edited to look smaller. I was struggling on how to handle the situation. I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, but I was really hurt. I got brunch that weekend with one of our mutual friends and had a big vent session. While my other friend got a little loose-lipped over some drinks, not only had my BFF been hounding me about losing weight with her, she'd been talking to other people behind my back. She'd been making comments about how she's worried about my health, and she had even shown our other friends the edited photos she'd made, asking them if they thought the fake me looked better. I was enraged. Harassing me about my weight was one thing, but involving other people felt so cruel.
Yeah, I'm mad for her.
So the vent session turned into more of an S-talking session. The bottomless mimosas were truly bottomless with that liquid courage, and I got a bright idea. Here's one thing to know about my best friend. She has a big nose. I say that without judgment. The truth is, I love her nose. I think it fits her face perfectly, and I've always told her so, but I knew it was an insecurity. So I downloaded one of those Facetune apps, and I edited her perfectly beautiful schnoz into a petite, tiny ski slope nose. I texted her the photo right then and there with the exact message she sent me. See, this is what you could look like in a few months.
Oh, she's.
Oh, that is petty.
Yeah.
My Lord.
Yeah.
Please don't judge me too much. I was really drunk and upset. And as soon as I sobered up, I felt an immediate wave of guilt. I texted her again, telling her it was a joke and that I was sorry for pushing it too far. My message didn't deliver. She blocked me. We haven't spoken in months now, and I really miss her. I know I was wrong, and I've tried to pass an apology along to her through our mutual friends, but there's been nothing. My birthday's coming up soon, and I want to throw one last Hail Mary and invite her. I truly think if we could sit down and talk about where we both went wrong, we could come to a mutual understanding and move on as sisters again. What do you think? Please help.
Ooh.
I get that she was trying to deliver the message so that her friend could see how she felt, but obviously she went about it the wrong way. I think at this point you just got to give her time to see if she'll ever forgive you, because that was a low blow, and you knew exactly what you was doing.
It was a low blow, but it was also a low blow for her to send an edited photo to her. And two wrongs don't make a right. And I know you have deep regrets for sending the Facetune photo of her with a smaller nose, which is probably preying on an insecurity of hers. I feel like this is unfortunately now a situation where everybody's wrong. Like what Julianne's friend did was below the belt, sending a edited photo of her 20 to 30 pounds lighter and saying, see, this is what you could look like in a couple of months. Like that, a solid friend wouldn't do that. And maybe she is a solid friend and maybe she's just misguided.
Right.
I'm not really sure where this is coming from. But then also to find out, if when you're at a brunch with a friend and then you find out your other friend has been talking smack about you and your weight behind your back, that cuts you to the core. Your friend's it's one thing to vent. It's another thing to mean girl and gossip about somebody and their appearance to your friend group. So I get why she's so upset. And I'm a little disappointed in myself that I'm not more mad she sent the Facetune nose picture, because I'm almost kind of like, play stupid games, win stupid play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Well, here's where it changes for me with the whole Facetune nose thing, and I'm totally in agreement with you that everybody is wrong at this point.
Yeah, totally.
The difference for me is Julianne's friend doesn't feel like she's wrong. She doubled down on the weight thing. She edited the photo. She's talking to other people behind her back. She has in no way acknowledged her part in this argument. Whereas Julianne would have never sent that photo had the first shot never been taken with her friend. And
multiple shots.
And she feels remorse for it. She's regretful for it. She wants to reconcile with her friend. So honestly, Julianne, I think you're better off without this loser talking about you behind your back constantly and weight shaming you. What you did was wrong. You shouldn't have done it. But at the end of the day, you recognize that. And to me, that's what makes me want to side more with you than your friend.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. And that's a tough spot when you feel like someone is hurting you, but it could be coming from a place of ignorance, or maybe they just really don't get it. So you strategically find a way to get them back, and that makes it seem worse. But I completely feeling like, okay, it wasn't wrong for her to do all the things she was doing in the first place either.
All right, Mikey, you feel like you were treated differently than your girlfriend and you're upset about it?
Yeah, well, I'm not upset about it. I'm saying, what is going on, really? And is this a real thing? It's going to be very blanketed. This is going to be a blanketed statement based on my experiences. But here's what happens is whenever my girlfriend is around a group of only my friends, where she's the only girl there, I feel like she is treated with the utmost respect, and people are conversational with her, and it seems like they're watching out for her.
They're respectful. They treat her. They treat her like the queen that she is.
Yeah, they treat her like she's the only girl in the group.
And you have a problem with this?
That's beautiful. No, that's a beautiful thing.
Okay,
that's good. The problem comes whenever I'm the only guy in a group of her friends. You'd think they treat me like a queen, but
wait. I don't know why you expected that, my dude.
No. So what happens is it seems like anything discussed is coming back to bite me. Girls love to discuss bad boyfriends.
Oh, you're the fall guy.
Yeah. And so then they look at me and they say, if you ever did that to her, I'll do violence on you. And I'm like, I didn't do anything. I'm just sitting here.
So you're getting the brunt of their frustration when they're talking about dudes and the way that dudes have hurt them, and then all of a sudden all the frustration gets taken out on you, and you just happen to be there.
Yeah, and that would never happen the other way. It's not like a group of my friends are sitting around, this girl cheated on her boyfriend. It's like, if you ever cheated on Mikey, you're done. It's like, that's scary. You can't say that.
Yeah, I think it's just a defense mechanism and a deflection thing that women do. But I'm going to tell you how to get out of this, because I think this is just a habit that women do, because our friends have been cheated on, and of course we want to like take out that anger on somebody, and you're there, you're the scapegoat, you're the piñata that people are hitting,
and you're really fun to hit. Sorry,
you really are.
Easy.
You're just so sweet.
I know.
So,
Fight back, Mikey.
Mikey, if you want to be treated like a queen by your girls' friends,
Okay.
you got to learn to queen out.
Yep.
You got to show them that
Does that mean have two hands on like a coffee cup while we talk?
What?
That's what it's and sit crisscross applesauce.
That's
Like
the
this?
first thing that came to you.
You mean like you got to cozy up?
with my eyebrows all the way raised.
You know what? That's a good start. If
He
that's,
did not.
yes. Okay, if that's...
Girl.
Make sure you clutch your pearls. And
No, he didn't. If that's what's going to get you to the mental place to be able to queen out, then you start there with the coffee cup. You start there with the crisscross applesauce. But I can tell you from experience that when you're a girl in a group of guys, I think mentally it's some kind of survival instinct that you just start acting like one of the bros. You try to assimilate and not stand out as soon as possible. So I think as a guy, you kind of have to make that mental switch of like, it's time to queen out. Get a little zesty, Mikey. Talk about Temptation Island.
Veronica said that she did not.
Yeah.
She does not deserve you.
That's so okay. Let's do a scenario. Let's do a fake scenario. We're gonna play this out. We're gonna role play a little bit. Okay. So I'm one of your girlfriend's friends. We're sitting there. Now get your coffee cup, both hands. Okay, there you go. Crisscross applesauce. Okay, there you go. Perfect. Kristen?
Yes.
Did you hear what happened with Zach and Cody?
What
happened? On deck? Were they on deck?
Yes, they were on deck cheating on their girlfriends. With the principal.
Mikey, how can you let this happen?
Why was
They
the
cheated-
principal on the cruise?
Mr. Mosby.
Okay, we need to come up with a different
Okay, different scenario.
Weird
Someone else.
scenario.
I'm not good at improv. I tried here.
What? Like, so what? I just think it's funny that instead of us learning to not take past traumas out on people that have nothing to do with it, we're turning Mikey into a queen in order to be accepted at the table.
Get your crown,
You know
King.
what? Mo, that's a good point.
I'm just saying.
I fell into that too deeply.
You did.
I should stick up for myself a little bit more next
stand
time.
on business, man.
Yeah.
Or just leave.
I know. Okay, well, I suggested that, but no, a guy did that the other day.
Yeah?
Everyone was mad at him. He was the only guy there, and he left. He's like, why do I need to be here? They were like, well, he's a jerk, huh? So I learned
gotta,
win,
but
can you?
Exhibit A, you got to assimilate.
You can't win, bro.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
well.
really can't. You can't win for staying. You can't win for losing. I would kind of be like, did I cheat on anybody? No. So why am I now all of a sudden your punching bag?
Bingo.
Have you ever said that?
Oh, man. No, I mean, when that just... They hit you with these slights. They get you with the slights if you're like, hey, I never did that. Then they're like, whoa.
Well, you can't get defensive. If you're too defensive, then that screams guilt.
Okay, well, all right, I'll be slight defense.
Well, you know what you should do is just blow their mind. Just grab your coffee with both hands and stand up and be like, ladies, I am respecting my boundaries, and this has become a toxic situation for me. So I'm going to excuse myself from this conversation. Have the day you deserve.
Okay, I need to write stuff like that down.
You got this, queen.
The Bert Show.